held on is Witten. There's a swing and a miss by Babb. He's down now 0-2 in the count. Drew Rogers waits on deck for Arkadelphia. Top of the first, Woodlawn 2, Arkadelphia 1. Top of the second, Woodlawn 2, Arkadelphia 1. Badgers went in order in the first and have had 3 base hits here in the top of the second to cut the lead in half. Fake throw over to first by the pitcher. Pitcher's got the over the knee pants that have become popular here, and wearing the stirrup, but you've got some skin showing there between the black stirrups and the gray bottoms. And there's a weak ground ball to second base. It's a 4-3 put out to end the inning for Arkadelphia. So Babb ends the inning for Arkadelphia, but 1 run across. They cut the Bear lead in half, 2-1. And the Badgers are working their way through the batting lineup. We'll see if they can stop this hot-hitting group from Woodlawn. Woodlawn High School is a 2A school located in Cleveland County here in eastern Arkansas, a few miles outside of Rising, not too awful far from Fordyce. Woodlawn is a state school. It's not a private school. It is a state-funded school. And they really enjoy their athletics over here, especially baseball. Nice facility here. Turf on the batting surface and on the pitcher's mound. Part of the area in foul territory behind the pitcher or the batting circle is turf. Everything else is natural grass. You got the dark crushed brick maroon surface where between first, second, and third base, and then grass baselines between third and home and first and home. Got the high fence in center, very similar to what Arkadelphia's home field looks like, and then the lower sections around 2/3 of the way around the rest of the park. Not sure of the numbers, not seeing any distance numbers on the field, but it does look like a pretty substantial normal size ballpark. Don't see any real short porch. Maybe a little shorter porch to left field, just by the look of it. There is a wall with all the state championship, regional championship, and district championship numbers out in right center field, just to the right of the scoreboard. And Babb is back to work here in the top of the second inning with a ball and no strike count to number 16 hitter, and there's a swing and a foul back, joined by former athletic director and currently director of sports media at Ouachita Baptist University, the #1 color man in college or in high school, college baseball, wherever you want to go, Chris Babb. Welcome, Chris.
Glad to be here. Get a little breath.
Yeah, it's a pretty good little haul over here to Woodlawn. Nice place. I heard a lot about it. I've got some friends that have had some kids that played ball here, and
got a neighbor.
Yeah,
lived in Woodlawn.
One of the families in Arkadelphia, I believe. Brandy Womack, I believe, was
Brandy
actually
Bird was a Woodlawn cheerleader. My dad, Buddy, and Paula lived here for a long time.
So a lot of folks that a lot of good things to say. Don't hear anything bad about Woodlawn. I think you're not going to hear much bad about their baseball team unless you have to play them. Right now, Arkadelphia is down 2-1 early on. Batting here in the bottom of the second is Woodlawn, and there's ball 4. Might have grazed him, but it was ball 4 anyway. So the second inning leadoff hitter for the Bears is on. And now we're down to number 15. I might sneak a sneak peek. Yeah, it's Braden Jones. He's the 8 hitter. A very nice lady here that's keeping a book for us. We got here just as the game was starting. And we apologize for missing part of that first inning, but fatherly duties and paying gigs kind of stand in our way every once in a while.
Yeah.
All right, here's the pitch. The runner dancing away. He's quite active over at first base.
Like you were talking about the outfield, looks like a shorter in right field, and so they got that longer, the higher fence on that cement block wall. It does look like there's a little up and down there that right fielders have to deal with a little bit deeper in center field.
Mm-hmm. There's a throwback, and man, if the first baseman, there's a throwback behind the runner at first, and it was a good throw. And I think Tucker was a little out of position there. If he'd have been a little more in position, he might have been able to put that tag on him. The throw was in time.
It was a good throw by Zane Hill. Caught the runner and Tucker Johnson a little bit off guard there.
Sailed a little bit high and inside. Either way, here's the 2-0, and it's thrown back over again. And so Badger pitching has learned from some of their early season mistakes, not holding those runners on, and a little harder now for the opposing base runners to get an extra base on the Badgers. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That one's going to find top of the bat, foul straight back.
Yeah, beautiful part. You know, the infield dirt that you see is turf. You've got turf at the plate and then the apron. Nicely manicured green grass in the infield and outfield and a turf mound.
Is that turf between the bases? I guess
it is turf between the bases.
Yeah. Look like the crushed brick, but it's the same color. A little different color than the mound and the batting circle surface. It's more of an orange color and a little more of a maroonish color out there.
A little crushed brick in the infield, red clay in the plate and the mound.
There you
beautiful, good-looking facility here.
Not only well coached and well played, but a very well cared for facility here. The football stadium right out past the left center field fence. Sports arena off to the right center field fence. Woodlawn is a very small town, only a town of a couple of hundred, but a 2A school that draws kids from about 20 miles away in all directions. And there's a shot to pop up on the back of the infield. Witten is under it. The runner was able to get into second base on a pass ball earlier. He has to stay there.
It's a good pitch, jammed him up and in, and wasn't able to do anything with that. Pop out to Witten. So now with one out, runner still in another runner in scoring position. Woodlawn got two in the first, has a runner in scoring position with just one out here in the second.
All right. All right, so Parker's our 9-hole hitter. He's the bottom of the batting lineup for the Bears. And so with one out, runner at second base, Bears with another runner in scoring position, leading 2-1 here in the bottom of the second from Woodlawn. Here's the pitch. Nice pitch. Had a little bit of movement on it. Fooled the hitter. He goes right over the top of it to even the count, a ball and a strike. You know, hopefully we keep every time that Carter Babb comes off the mound after 3 or 4 or 5 good innings of work, he kind of has that look of disgust because our defense has let him down, and he's really pitched a couple of really good outings midweek here and off to another pretty good start today. Carter looking at his 9th hitter of the day. And there's a swing and a shot to deep left field. Going back is Bell. It's going to hit the top of the wall and bounce back in. He almost made a miraculous catch here. Here's the throw home from Witten, and it's not in time. It's up the line a little bit, and there's a run that Bell didn't get a great jump, but he got back to the wall, and it hit the top of the wall, the yellow portion, and for whatever reason bounced back into the field of play. So very lucky there for Arkadelphia, because that was about, you talked about a Subway sandwich, that was a pickle on that Subway sandwich away from being a home run.
It was, and Bell did a nice job of getting the ball back into Witten, just not in time to get that runner at home. Zane was set up and in front of the plate. I don't know if he thought it was going to have a chance to be that close or not.
So they extend their lead back to 2 runs now, still just 1 out, and the runner at home traded places with the runner at second with that double off the left field wall. Bell's had a couple of hard has had a couple of tough plays out there today. The wind is, like I said, it is swirling a little bit left to right and out now. So that might be playing some tricks. The sun is really high in the sky, and that's also tough on those outfielders. It's not really in the face of the left side. It's more in the face of the right side as the shadows from the light poles are going from the left side to right. And so the shade's down over there on the right side of the Badger infield and outfield. But most of the damage here coming to left for the Bears. 2 balls and 1 strike now to the leadoff hitter for Woodlawn. Checking the runner at second, and now swing, big swing and a miss. That brought him all the way out of the batter's box.
He's trying to put that one on the football field.
I believe so. The yellow paint on the top of the fence wasn't going to hold that
No,
one if
it
he
wasn't.
got a hold of it.
No, it wasn't.
He got his money's worth. He looked like a corkscrew going in all the way across the batter's box. 2-2 now is the count. Babb comes in, blocked up nicely there by Hill. Runner stays at second. Count goes full now, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
He put it on the 40-yard line the other day.
Yeah, this young man, apparently according to our resident, one of our residents here, put it on the 40-yard line the other day. So funny how that works sometimes. When it works once, you want to go back and get another one,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Sometimes that's the worst, absolutely the worst thing you can do is hit the 40-yard line with one, but makes you want to go after it again. All right, so he draws a full count walk, so now runners at first and second for Woodlawn. The number 2 hole hitter for Woodlawn is batting now, and that's Ethan Gardner. Ethan Gardner. Ethan had a base hit his first time up. And he's also the center fielder, so he's the young man that went down hard on his backside that last defensive half, slipping as he was coming in, and that felt like it hurt. He's not the broadest of landing spots there. Young man that batting from the left side. No balls and a strike to him. 1 run in the inning now. 3-1 Woodlawn here, bottom of the second from Woodlawn. There's a big swing and a miss.
Got away with that one. Of course, it was 2 strikes in the count, so you got a chance to leave it up. But that one looked like a big beach ball coming in there and couldn't quite catch up to it. And so Babb gets the second out, and now he's got a big stick at the plate. And
third baseman,
yep.
Jaden Maines, he just looks like a ball player.
Yeah.
He looks like a guy you don't want to get in a fight with.
Or pitch to.
Or pitch to, for that matter. Or have him coming at you in the A gap. Ball is down and low for ball 1. 2 runners on now, 1 out for Arkadelphia still. Maines the three-hole hitter. He scored a run here early in the first. There's a throw down to third base that is.
He came off, but the umpire couldn't. The umpire was shielded. He couldn't tell that the base runner slid off that last bag. It wasn't very much, but it was just enough for him to slide off and have that. And Tate Goodrum had that glove on him, but the umpire was shielded. And Donovan Whitten's telling him, he said, "You can't see. Can you ask the home plate umpire?" They might have a chance, but I doubt the home plate umpire would overrule that. He was 90 feet away, but runner did come off the bag. Unfortunate break for the Badgers.
So now both runners in scoring position. A 2-ball no strike count, and now it's 3-0. So potentially reloading the bases here with the 4-hole hitter up, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to go ahead and put him on base. And so the cleanup hitter now is the pitcher, Jackson Case. And Jackson, flew out back in the first inning.
You mentioned Woodlawn 17-3, won their first 11 games, had a 3-game losing streak right after spring break, or maybe that was during spring break, and then have won their last 6, including an 8-3 win over Warren.
There's a ball that's going to get by the catcher. He's going to get back there, make the throw back to home plate, and he's out. Nice carom there as Arkadelphia has a inning-ending
that
pass ball and throw out, trying to steal home.
That backstop is a cinder block. Now it does take a couple of turns, and so I think you're probably hoping that you get a weird bounce off of that. But that did bounce nicely back to Zane Hill. He did a nice job of getting back there. Carter Babb fielded his position, covered the plate, and was able to make that tag.
So a lot of damage avoided right there. Arkadelphia was really lucky to get out of that, only giving up 1 run, and don't want to live that dangerously, certainly against Woodlawn.
No.
They're not going to let that happen.
No, they're 17-3. You take a look at the scores. Very few of those have been close.
Yeah, I wonder that 3-game losing streak. You wonder if they had a bout of COVID or something that might have got half their team during that. But even those, I was looking, most of those losses, those 3 losses were very close.
Yeah.
And most of those wins
have not been very close at all. Multiple. You see a 13-0 against Bearden, a 16-5 win at Monticello, 10-1 over DeWitt, 12-2 over Prescott, and 16-0, 24-0, and a couple of football scores.
So let's talk about Arkadelphia and the rest of their season. They're at the halfway point.
And we don't have any of those 24-0 victories.
No, we certainly don't. They're going into tomorrow night. They'll bring in, weather permitting, they'll bring in their first conference victory of the season for the second half of the round robin. That's in DeQueen. Coach Crocker will bring his Leopards into town tomorrow evening, and the Badgers need that win. No district tournament this year.
Right.
It's only a regional tournament, and so my understanding is they only going to take 4 teams from each conference.
Yeah, traditionally there's been a district tournament after the double round robin, and but this year, in talking to Coach Lowe, they said the conference is not going to do a conference tournament, so it'll just be the top 4. It'll be the top 4 teams, and right now Arkadelphia is 5th with a 3-4 record. Bauxite at the top of that record, top of the standings. Nashville in 2nd, Malvern in 3rd, Fountain Lake in 4th at 4-3. So Arkadelphia 1 game out of that 4th spot, and that's what they're going to be trying to shoot for in this last half. Now, obviously, tomorrow night's game is up in the air, depending on the weather. It's supposed to move in town sometime mid-morning, and have to see what happens. Drew Rogers turns on another one. Boy, you weren't there.
He knocked that one into the stratosphere foul, and so Rogers up there, he took the first strike and then put that one foul way down the left field line.
I know you weren't able to be at Mena Tuesday night, but Drew had a really, really good base hit double down the left field line. He had a foul ball just like that. So Drew has seen the ball a little bit better this week, and glad to see him get in there and put the bat on the ball, try to make something happen.
Ball and 2 strikes now, a swinging miss, but it gets to the backstop. The catcher can't come up with it. So a strikeout and an advance down to first base is Drew Rogers. And, Drew's been perfect really this year in the field. Might have had 1 error all year long, but had some trouble getting the bat going, and now it's starting to come alive. So it's good to see our only senior in Drew Rogers coming alive here at the plate.
Well, when you start hitting the ball, things like that happen. You swing and miss, and they drop the 3rd strike, and you're able to reach first base.
That's the karma of baseball. Sometimes things just work out because you work real hard at it, even if you're not lucky. Luck seems to turn when you're working hard at it. So Drew away from first now. Nobody out, and back to the top of the lineup, and the bunt laid down but fouled on the left side from Tate. Tate went down in the first inning with a grounder to short. Rogers now retreats back to first base. He'll get his walking lead from there. He's being held on over by the Bear first baseman. Right-handed pitcher for Woodlawn. There's a steal, trying to bunt steal. The ball, ball is thrown on the steal attempt by Rogers. He goes in, slides up and over the bag and held on, throw a little high, not in time. So Rogers down to second. But Tate behind now, 0-2. That was a steal and bunt play call, and the ball was outside enough, and he didn't get the bat back. And
that's
there's
tough.
strike three, a late strike three called, looking for Tate. So
yeah, 2 strikes, so you got to at least try to fight it off and get to the next pitch, and especially with the runner in scoring position and nobody out.
So now Lou up. Pentecost, the batter, right fielder for Arkadelphia. Fouls one off, out of play on the right side. A really good jump by Drew on that bunt attempt. And, of course, now you can tell with these base runners that it's obviously artificial out there on those baselines because the runners, that's a couple of runners. Now there's a balk call, so Roger's going to get enough attention from the Woodlawn pitcher to draw the balk, and he's now down to third, 90 feet away, to closing it back to 1 run.
Yeah, you saw this first time Arkadelphia played at Henderson's Field a couple of years ago. After Henderson got their turf, you see players sliding past the bag every once in a while. A little home field advantage if you're on the receiving side of that. But a lot of times you forget about that and slide over the bag like we saw the Woodlawn player do at third earlier.
2 strikes now to Lou, and he swings at strike 3. Got a piece of it, but the catcher held on, so 2 outs now. And a new cleanly groomed Trip Campbell.
Yeah, there would be lots of
the locks of love are gone. There's a shot to the shortstop, pretty sure-handed, pats the glove, comes up, strong throw to first, 6-3 the put out. So third base is as close as Arkadelphia gets, and so they'll go quietly here in the top of the third. Still trailing 3-1 here at Woodlawn. Good contact there, but there's been about 3 or 4 putouts there to the shortstop, and he's not even close to making a mistake yet. So not the place you probably want to hit the baseball today.
No, Tripp was upset with himself after swinging at that. After he grounded out, didn't quite get around on it. Went the opposite way with that ground ball, and you're right. That's not the spot you want to see. And if that infield's not going to lend itself to many bad hops, and especially once it gets to that turf, you're not going to have a chance at many bad hops.
Carter Babb back out for his 3rd inning of work. He's given up 1 run on, I believe, 3 hits. Been a pretty good
3 runs on 3 hits.
I'm sorry, 3 runs on 3 hits. Been a pretty good, pretty efficient effort against a really good team. So see if he can get some more work in. He's gone multiple innings in his other 2 starts this year, midseason starts. I don't know, has he started more than 2?
No, I believe this is his third. The deal with him is, he's not going to have a lot of velocity. He's got to throw strikes, and then once batters see him after the second time, it's usually that third time around in the lineup. If they've not been able to solve him the first time, they usually come around on him.
So the pitcher for
it's adjusting to slower speeds as opposed to batters having to adjust to higher velocity.
Exactly. And there's one that hops about 3 feet in front of the plate. Breaking ball that just broke a little too early. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It sails outside, just inside the opposite dugout to the left-handed hitter. Here's the 2-0 pitch, fouled into the glove of Zane Hill. High fastball that got just under it. And Zane's able to secure it for strike. 2 balls and a strike now. There's another one that he just gets a piece, and again, Zane's able to hold on to it. We hope if it does it on strike 3, he's able to hold it, because he can on strikes 1 and 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes now, even count to the Bear pitcher. And first batter for Woodlawn here in the bottom of the third. There's a Ball low and outside to full up the count.
Good plate discipline from the Bears. You know, if you're at 2-2, you really want to go get them. They're not going to go fishing, and now you put yourself in a full count spot, and you end up with a walk.
And he just missed that. That didn't miss by much. I don't think the altitude was the problem. I think it was the latitude and just a bit outside there. So the first batter of the Bear half of the inning is on first, and he'll be courtesy ran 4. Go over and get him a sip of Gatorade and get ready to come back out. I'm sure we'll see him in the top of the 4th, back on the mound for Woodlawn. Number 12 now, he's the 5-hole hitter with a runner at first. Nobody out, pops up and gets away from Zane. He's able to make a good throw in, and a late throw, but a good throw that's on the bag, and the batter or the runner actually went in standing up and almost overran the bag, and the tag was there by Witten.
Probably go down as a wild pitch as that one bounced in the left-handed batter's box. These first 2 batters of this inning not really had the best control, trying to get back in the zone.
Missed out just a bit on that one, so now 2 balls and no strikes. And one of the things that's really hurt Arkadelphia throughout close ball games in which they've given up the lead is later inning walks. So we certainly don't want to start that trend here. We'll see if Babb, and he hits the batter in the back of the leg. So same as a walk. And Coach Drew Lowe is not going to let this fester very much, Chris. He's out to talk to Carter really early here, and first signs of trouble really for Carter. And Coach Lowe going to go out and visit with Babb here, and probably won't take him out, but going to get a little bit of a pep talk and let him catch his breath a minute. Arkadelphia again back in action tomorrow night, weather permitting. First pitch 5 o'clock from home of the Badgers, the Arkadelphia Sports Complex. No broadcast. We want you out at the ballpark if you can get there. Hopefully come out and see some of the new Badger signings that's going up this year, and root on the Badgers and Lady Badgers as they'll be in action tomorrow night in Arkadelphia. Like I said, starting the second half of the conference season against the DeQueen Leopards tomorrow night in Arkadelphia, 5 o'clock. Hopefully the weather will hold off for us. So now with runners in first and second and nobody out, bunt sign up, and it's laid down first to third baseline perfectly, up with it and to first in time, or not in time. Not really sure. That was not.
No, he said he was off the bag. There's no way he was off the bag.
He was not off the bag. The field umpire made the call.
Yeah, he said he was off the bag, but they're asking if they can appeal to the home plate umpire, pal. But
that's not a good call.
No.
He's got to get.
And he won't even ask. He's not right now. He's not asking like Coach Lowe. He's going to ask the home plate umpire, but he has relented. And yeah, that was a good play by Tate. Good scoop. The throw was in the dirt, and he said his foot was off the bag.
If it was off the bag, and he's going to call him safe.
Oh goodness!
If it was off the bag, it was on the other side of the bag down the right field line, and I don't know how in the world that could happen, but irregardless, we've got the bases full of Bears now and still no outs.
It's tough. So now you put yourself in that situation by walking the lead off and then hitting the second batter, and now you have one thing a break go against you, and you have the bases loaded with no outs. So you know that call / play shouldn't bother you, but it does because you walked the first batter and you hit the second, so now you've got yourself in a big jam.
Yeah, and against a batter who's come across the plate already today, and he watches ball 1 sail by, so we'll see if Coach Lowe, we'll see what kind of leash he has on his sophomore left-hander.
And back to that play, I would have understood if he said Tucker bobbled it, because I thought maybe it wasn't quite secure in his glove, but
there's a shot up the middle that gets right under Babb and right under Witten. 1 run will score, 2 runs will score. Into first base with an RBI single, and 2 runs scored is the Bear hitter with still nobody out. And that one was just a seeing eye single that got under 2 gloves. in the middle of the Badger defense. It is a single. It was not an error. The ball was hit back sharply enough to where Babb could not come out of his delivery motion to get a glove on the ground, and ranging all the way behind the bag and to his left was Witten, and he couldn't get a glove on it. I think he was there in time.
Got a glove on it, stopped it just a little bit, just not quite enough.
Right. Ball is bunted and popped back foul up in the air, but not to where Hill could get to it. So finally in the inning, Carter is able to get ahead of a batter, and that may just be what we need to try to get a little bit of momentum. Getting behind early in these counts has been really the start of all of this, these pitching troubles for Carter here in the bottom of the third. Runners at first and second, they'll get their leads not being held on. Here's the pitch. It sails outside. Very active is young Zane Hill behind the plate. He's not scared to throw behind a base runner if they get too liberal out there. So already had one pickoff attempt behind the runner at first base that was almost a put out. He's got a tag out at third already on a stolen attempt. There's a pickoff move that's back to second base from Babb. Nice turn. And a pretty close play as the runner gets back on his stomach safe. Badgers need an out here any way they can get it. A strikeout, a pop-up, a weak ground ball, a force, anything. They just need an out right now as another 2 spot on the board here with nobody out and 2 on. Bottom of the third, 5-1 Bears. Almost a swinging bunt attempt there is dribbled down the line at first. Foul.
Carter ought to walk up to that batter and say, "Thank you for trying to bunt that one."
Yeah.
And gave him a strike. That was a hard pitch to bunt, high and outside, had to go across the plate a little bit to bunt it foul. And so now bunt's probably off unless you just you trust your batter to be a good bunter and try to make something happen. You kind of do that up 4 with nobody out and a runner in scoring position.
Here's the 1-2 count. Swing and a miss on an outside pitch that, again, you have to say that was just a good pitch. He had a pitch that he could throw out there to see if the runner or if the hitter would go fishing, and he did. And so a nice mix up there by the Arkadelphia battery. So now with 1 out, exactly what Arkadelphia needed was a put out of any kind and not advancing runners. Here's the nice breaking pitch. He's just able to foul it off.
Start off ahead with a good, it started with fastball most of the batters and goes a little bit off script there and starts him off with a breaking ball that caught the batter lunging just a little bit. It's a good pitch to get ahead in the count.
Good things happen when Badger pitchers get ahead, and again, for the second batter in a row he is. We'll see how it goes. Here's the pitch that's just high. And that was one that little bit of wiggle from that Bear batter. That went up in the eyes a little bit. Looks awful tasty, but he's able to lay off. 1 ball, 1 strike now. Runners away from first and second again. 1 out here. Again, just a wiggle of that bat, but not fishing on the 1-1 pitch that goes just a little bit inside for ball 2.
It was low in the zone. Zane had to go down in his crouch to catch that one. Bounced just at the back end of the plate.
Little tap of the glove out there from Rogers at second. He's back, retreating back. Ball sails outside. So now what started ahead is now behind. 3 balls and a strike. 1 out. There is a base to give, but we'd rather not now. We don't want Lightning to strike twice. And ball in the dirt for ball 4. So now bases loaded. And once again, back to the top of the lineup.
That's going to be it.
And a second visit is the hook for Babb, and he gives a little toss to the coach, and we'll see fellow sophomore left-hander Hayden Harper out of the pen for Arkadelphia. Hayden has a couple of saves on the year. Couple of conference saves, as a matter of fact, following up Donovan Witten on both of those. Very talented young left-hander. He not overpowering. Going to bring a little more velocity than Babb. Going to have a couple of pitches to go to. He'll have the fastball, and he'll have a little bit of a breaking pitch, a pretty good breaking pitch. About any pitcher nowadays in high school baseball, unless you can bring it mid-90s, you got to have at least a couple of pitches, if not three. Notice watching a lot of the college broadcasts that if you don't have three pitches that you can master at any given time, you can't pitch in college baseball at any level anymore. And it's going to trickle down to high school baseball as well, as these pitchers are learning how to do a lot of things with a baseball that try to fool these hitters. You've got hot bats, and you've got players that are a lot more technologically advanced as far as being able to go into a season and see video and tape themselves hitting. And it's really, pitchers have had to adapt to an increase in better hitting at all levels of baseball, especially here in high school. So taking his warm-up pitches is Hayden Harper. He'll inherit a bases-loaded situation here in the bottom of the third inning. A couple of runs already across, only one out. 5-1 is the lead for Woodlawn. And the leadoff hitter is back up for the Bears for the third time in as many innings. Here's the pitch. Takes high for ball one. Harper about 6 foot, 175 pounds, 65, 70 pounds. Left-hander. Good motion on his fastball. He's pitching. And there's a got him. A throw down to third base and by Zane Hill, and he nailed him. The runner back into third was not in time, and nice play there by the freshman catcher.
Boy, it was a good spot. Runner got caught napping, and Zane has thrown behind runners a couple of times this year and was able to, he's had a couple where if the throw had been online, it was there, but that was a great throw and catch by Zane Hill. And now Hayden follows it up with a good fastball to draw a swing and a miss.
You know, as a pitcher coming out needing a little bit of good news, whether you produce it yourself or let someone else do it for you, that's about as good as you can get, is to take that lead runner off the board and put another out up there. Now only one out needed, 2 down for Arkadelphia here, and 2 runners aboard instead of 3. That changes the complexion not only of this at bat but the entire inning drastically. Arkadelphia needs to get out of it here. 3 balls and a strike now, 1 ball away from loading it back up, and they do. So Harper again comes in and not able to control. So we'll see the lefty number 2 hitter for the Bears struck out his last time up last inning. We'll see if Harper can get him here to.
Good pitch.
Nice pitch on the outside black there, and you know, if you can't rear back with a fastball and hit into the high 80s, low 90s, you got to be able to place it, and that was perfectly placed on the outside black. Here's the 0-1, a swing and a miss inside, so he goes outside and inside. Come back with a breaking pitch, or he goes stay with the high cheese here. We'll see what Harper does, as he's ahead 0-2 now to the hitter. He burns a pitch outside in the other box. So now still with a pitch to burn if he needs to. Bases loaded. He's probably not going to serve it up right down the middle. He doesn't, high and outside. So now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Count even now to the center fielder. To the belt, kicks Harper high, ball 3. So now we have a payoff pitch with runners moving. And it is mano a mano here as Hayden Harper comes with the 3-2. Swung on and missed. Nice pitch there by Harper, and he wills the Badgers out of a bases loaded inning again, but 2 runs across, and the Bears extend their lead by a score of 5-1. We're through 3 complete.
That's a big spot for Hayden to come in and have a base hit. The runners were going to be off, so a base hit was definitely going to score 2, and depending on where it's put and if it's a gap, it's possibly going to score 3. But that was a big spot for Hayden Harper to come in and get that strikeout.
You know, we're watching these young men grow up right before our eyes. Most of these young men, we look at the experience on the Arkadelphia team going back before this year started. Tate Goodrum was a 2-year starter. He actually started as a freshman a handful of games, started every game, all 5 games, all 5 games in a COVID-shortened season last year, and then, of course, had started this year and has played in every game except for, I believe, one that he was a little banged up in. Jarrett Bell getting a second-year start in his second year. He played in a couple of games last year, started a couple of games. We saw Donovan Witten. We saw Trip Campbell contribute a little bit as freshman. Outside of that, Chris, nobody's seen a varsity baseball field in their life until this year. So we're watching these young men grow up before our eyes, and you see some growing pains, but they seem to become fewer and far between.
Yeah, and Coach Loden talking after the Mena game, he felt like they were coming together defensively last week, the last couple of games, and now you had a win at Hope and a win at Mena. Now you had a tall task to come up with a win here today at Woodlawn, but you wanted to. He didn't just. Now I thought Mr. Powell behind the plate raised his arm right for a strike, but
surely not.
No.
Surely that's not a strike. No,
it hit the plate. It is a ball, but I was wondering. It kind of caught me off guard because he raised his right arm up. But yeah, this team has played better, and you got a tall task today. You just want to make plays whenever you have the opportunity. Come up with some hits when you have a chance.
Compete and try to finish. Tucker draws a 2-0 strike there. 2 balls and a strike now to Tucker. He's leading off the top of the 4th for Arkadelphia. Tucker hitting .325 on the year. He's been very good early. Dropped off a little late, but back. Always a threat to put the ball in play. Had a base hit in the 2nd inning to start that inning off, and actually was, I believe, the first Badger to score. 3 balls and 2 strikes now to Tucker, the first baseman for Arkadelphia. He's getting first starts as a junior. There's a dribbler down to shortstop. Big Sunday hop up and across the field is the third baseman for the 5-3 putout, and Tucker made it a little bit closer just because it was a big Sunday hop, but sure-handed third baseman there for the Bears, able to come up and make the first out. Jarrett Bell, he started off the day with a base hit in the 2nd as well to follow up Tucker's base hit. Ran into a double play with KD behind him, so he did not score. There's a swing and a miss. Ball 1, strike 1 now to Jarrett Bell. He's the Badger left fielder. Ball and a strike.
Ooh.
Up high and called strike 2. That ball was up above the letters. Not real sure what the umpire saw there, but enough to call it. And now there's strike 3. And the 2nd strike cost him the 3rd strike,
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, you get that one called when you turn your head and you're all kinds of guessing. That was a tough one against JB, that 2nd strike, and but you can't turn it into 2, and that's what happened on that one.
You know, that's what keeps guys like me off the PGA, Chris. I can't let the bad shot go. I hit it in the water once. I'm going to hit it 3 times.
There's more than that than keeps most of us off the PGA.
All right, here's KD. He bounced into a double play last time at bat. 2 outs down the inning. Ball goes high. Not called a strike. I feel like we're I feel like we're getting places. We're going places here. 1 ball and no strikes to the DH today. The pitcher working very quickly out there on the mound, and I can see why. He's rolling here, 2 up, 2 down in the inning. And there's a shot to the shortstop. The sure-hander taps his glove, makes a couple of hops towards first, and 6-3 goes KD, and Arkadelphia is 1-2-3 here in the top of the 4th. Not a lot of life in that half inning as the Badgers went very quietly into the afternoon sunshine. A few shadows starting to cover up the plate area and a little bit of the third base line. But for the most part, still a gorgeous afternoon here. Wind blowing straight out now to left field, and it's 10 to 12 miles per hour, enough to make a difference. If one of these right-handed hitters can pull a pitch and get it up in that breeze, it could certainly help it get out of the ballpark in left field. Going right towards that 40-yard line. Hopefully won't happen in this half inning, as Arkadelphia now trailing 5-1 here at Woodlawn. Bottom of the 4th inning, back out for his 2nd inning of work is Hayden Harper. He came in relief of Carter Babb back in the bottom of the 3rd. Was able to pitch out of a bases loaded jam twice, actually. Bases loaded when he came in, and he was able to get a nice pickoff play there to take the lead runner out by Zane Hill, and then he put him right back on and was able to pitch out of it to end the inning.
Yeah, this is one of the most potent offensive lineups from 1 to 9 that Arkadelphia will see, this season. So, good test as you see a little bit more velocity from the pitcher than what you've seen in the last couple of games, particularly.
Manus, the third baseman, is back up to start things off for the Bears here in the bottom of the 4th. There's a breaking pitch that stays outside for ball 1. Arkadelphia, everybody up on the rail on both sides of the park here in respected dugouts. There's a pitch, gets low, skims off the top of the artificial batting circle surface. 2 balls now and no strikes to the Bear third baseman. He steps in from the right. One of those players that doesn't take the open stance. He's straight up stance, feet parallel to the lines of the north and south lines of the batter's box. Bears in a traditional looking gray top and gray bottom with the black piping, the black stirrups, the black hats.
I think that's got a little pattern there, a little subdued pattern, adding a little.
Yeah, it might be a little of that vintage Kentucky back of the basketball uniform.
Yeah.
Kind of a hologram look there to the uniforms. Sharp looking though, got the Woodlawn tackle twill in black cursive across the front, and the black numbers on the lower left of the front, and the big black numbers on the back. A little Milwaukee looking glove logo on the left.
No, I think Milwaukee stole that from Woodlawn.
I think
Milwaukee
so.
saw Woodlawn with the WB and said, we kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a good looking cap. You see some of those around the park. Good looking logo for baseball.
It is, and again, behind is Hayden Harper. 2 balls and no strikes now. Walk to start the inning. Now the runner is off. Manus going to draw the throw, and he is in time. Good throw by Hill. Takes 1 hop and bounces up harmlessly to Witten, but Manus pretty quick for a big fellow down there to second base, and he's in with a stolen base. Was, I believe, strike 1. Or no, it was.
I think it was
ball
2 or 3, one of the 2.
Now he's off and running for third. Hill going to come up and sail the throw just a little bit to the left toward the second base side of third base, enough to
Yeah, you gotta. That was ball 4. You gotta look at your runner, give him a look back, at least keep him a little bit honest. And Manis took advantage of those two on that back-to-back steals.
So the pitcher now makes his way down to first with the base on balls. He's replaced again by a courtesy runner. Arkadelphia with nobody out, runners at the corners, and again playing with fire here, putting multiple runners on base and one in scoring position. We'll see if the runner goes from first, and if so, does he draw the throw from Hill with the speedy Manis over at third.
And not a huge lead for the courtesy runner at first. Be interesting. You do have good speed. Guys just stolen 2 bases at third base. See what the first and third strategy is. If they do go, do you let them go and see if you can try to exchange an out for a run when you're down 4.
There's a pitch that looks a little high, but it's called ball, or it's called a strike. So starts out the New Bear hitter with a strike.
I'm good with that. That's what we thought on the pitch to Bell earlier. So I'm good with that.
That was a bit high. There's one right in the zone that swung over the top. So now Harper dealing ahead 0-2, and the runner stays put at first base. The courtesy runner over there, he's being held on by Tucker. Big hole on the right side because of it. Harper sails one outside, a pitch to Burn. No fishing there by number 12. For Woodlawn. Nobody out here, bottom of the 4th. Woodlawn leading 5-1. They've led the entire way. Now the runner's off from first. He's going to fake the throw. The runner at third retreats back. So now 2 runners in scoring position. A 2-2 even count now. And so what's starting at this at bat looking really good is not looking quite so good. Here's the left-hander delivering down and in for just ball 3.
That's a tough pitch. I think Zane Hill wanted that one there behind the plate, framed it up nicely, and gave a little waiting for that strike 3 call. Didn't quite get it. He wanted that one. That's a good pitch from Hayden. 2-2 count. You go at the bottom inside of the zone, and just didn't get the call.
And he comes up there with a hit out to left field, drops in front of Bell. 1 run will score. Coming around, should draw a throw from third, and it does. And he's out. Nice relay from Bell in left field to Tate at third, and he puts the tag, gets the ball into Hill, and Hill puts the tag at the runner from second.
Yeah, that was a good play by Jarrett Bell charging in from left field, and the coach, he's going to send him because you're going to make the defense try to make a play. More often than not, you're going to force your defense to make a play, and more often than not in high school baseball, that play's not going to be made. But that was a nice relay from Bell to Goodrum to Hill, and Hill made a nice job of catching and making a quick tag on the runner.
Had to have 2 good throws, and you got him there. Here goes the runner again from third, a running lead, and that ball sails but is caught by Goodrum. It got up high. Runner's getting way too much of a lead on Hayden from second, and he was almost standing in front of Donovan Witten before he ever even released the ball. So Coach Richardson taking what the defense now will give him on the bases, and Arkadelphia is needing to make some adjustments. There's a shot to left field, high ball over to his left. Measuring it up is Jarrett Bell. He makes the catch. Going to have a throw that's cut off, and the run will tag and score from third. So another run across, but another out, down. And so 2 more across for Woodlawn here in the bottom of the 4th. 2 outs. And nobody on now for the first time in what seems like a millennium. There's a good breaking pitch that comes in the back door by Harper. Nice pitch.
Yeah, batter gave up on that one early and had enough late break to catch that zone. Good breaking ball to start off there. Start off the batter by Hayden Harper.
2 down now. He starts him off Now there's a pop-up on the right side. It's going to be in the sun. Coming in and not able to make the catch is Pentecost. He was coming in. It was his play all the way, and it's just hard to see the ball this time of day. And he overruns it a little bit, and the ball falls in. E9 for Arkadelphia. And so another runner on board for the Bears. 7-1 now is the lead. And back to the number 8 hitter in the lineup for the Bears.
He wanted to call that.
He
foul.
gave it a little bit of
Don't play.
hippie shake, but he didn't completely finish his shake there. It was just almost wanted it, but changed his mind. A ball and no strikes.
Yeah, Mr. Powell almost stood up and called that strike one. Just didn't quite get it. Oh, man.
There's one that hits the knee, the inside of one of the knees of the hitter there, and
caught his left leg right above the knee on that back of your hamstring, and that was a tough one. Hayden tried to get that inside corner and just got a little bit too far inside, and now puts runners on first and second.
Arkadelphia used to pitching off of the natural surface there at Arkadelphia on the field, but getting a lot of work on the indoor, and the indoor mounds are probably going to be very similar, at least the surface of the mounds, to what you see here in the artificial. But it still can play a little bit of tricks on a pitcher as far as their footing and, being able to slide the cleat a little bit more on the toe in the dirt versus the artificial surface. So, again, young pitchers that are learning as they go. Hayden ahead now 0-1 to the hitter. There's one that gets outside. He'll let that one get right off the end of his glove. It goes back to the screen, and again the runners are in scoring position at second and third.
That's what I saw in that first pitch from Hayden. He had the runner at second base, and when he came with his right leg at the when he was bringing it up, he kind of turned his hip a little bit and kept that runner at second base honest, and that's the first time the runners had seen that. So rather than the runner getting his secondary lead towards third base, his momentum was going back to the bag.
Hayden still ahead now, a ball and 2 strikes to the hitter. We'll see if he can close him out. That one sails high, and again coming up, bluffing the throw is Hill behind the plate, and a little bit closer to home is the runner over at third, learning from earlier mistake in the last inning. 2-2 now, the hitter. There's a strike 3 that's called, a backward K for Hayden Harper as he gets out of an inning again with what could have been a couple of more runs with runners in scoring position. Leaving 2, scoring 2 is Woodlawn here through 4. Arkadelphia trails 7-1 here in Woodlawn. Back out again is
gave up 2 runs that inning. Sorry I interrupted you, but Hayden gave up 2 runs that inning, but he stranded 5 runners on base. He stranded the bases loaded in his first inning of work in the 4th when he came in relief. Stranded 2 Bears on base there. So good job of getting out of trouble that time by Hayden. You had the one shot to right field that was misplayed, and a couple of walks. Just a couple of a couple of walks and hit batters in bad spots for in the first, when Carter had started the game. He got himself in a couple of jams with some early walks, and Hayden was able to get out of that just a little bit, giving up 2 runs but still stranding 2.
The pitcher for Woodlawn is one of the quicker working pitchers that we've seen in some time, and one of the things that I notice about a lot of Arkadelphia hitters, I notice it a lot on home games, because I try to play their walkout song and we can't get through the first note of this walkout song because they get in the batter's box so quick. But
that's just fine though.
Sometimes when a pitcher's rolling, those Arkadelphia hitters seem to let them off the hook a little bit by getting in the box a little too quick. That one hits Witten in the first pitch, and so an Arkadelphia runner on the hard way, but that one got him right on the elbow, right above the left elbow, and I hope that doesn't cause problems for tomorrow night.
Yeah, you mentioned that walk-up music. I've seen more games, especially college softball and college baseball, the last month where umpires get frustrated with some of those songs going about a couple of seconds too long. I'm just like, man, just enjoy.
Yeah.
Just enjoy, you know.
Yeah, it's the world we live in, and you know, it's just.
What would your walk-up song be, Blake? It got to be from the 50s as much as you play at home.
You know what? I've thought about that from time to time.
Oh, have
I don't
you?
know.
Have you?
I'm a big Johnny Cash fan. You know, we came through Kingsland on the way here, the birthplace of. I'd have to say I'm a Johnny Cash man. I might have to do a little. I don't know. I'd have to think about it, but maybe a little Get Rhythm.
There you go. Hayden Harper steps in the plate to get the at-bat as he came in a straight-up switch for Carter Babb in the middle of the 4th inning. So he also replaced Carter in the batting order. So he stands in from the left side now. So you're saying next time we start a broadcast, we need to start it with whatever song you said from Johnny Cash?
Hey, Get Rhythm. There's a ball that's lifted into center field, settling under it and making the catch for out number 1.
Are you saying that you don't have rhythm? You need to get some? Is that?
No, I
don't want to hear about it.
I just want to get in. If I'm going into the job, whether it's batting or broadcasting or whatever it is, I need to get in rhythm. Just you know.
They play music for you at Edward Jones when you walk in the morning?
No, they do not. No music for me. Usually a cup of coffee and to work I go. And Witten's away from first, drawing a little bit of a fake throw there from the catcher. He's getting a pretty good lead over there. So where did the walkout music originate from? You know where it started?
There's the throw down to first. No, I just remember, you've seen it in Major League games and eventually, college, and then it trickles down. And I remember when we had a 12-year-old tournament, and they called that week, and whoever was running the tournament, I think it was in Mountain Home, said, have your kids pick the walkout music. I was like, they're 12 years old. No.
Yeah, their walkout song is Baby Shark. I mean, they don't need walkout music when they're 12 years old.
Or 16.
Or 17 or 25. Play the game. Baseball is one of the games that still has a lot of tradition, a lot of things where you don't show out and try to make yourself bigger than the team.
Obviously now, because if you're Nick Castellanos, you get suspended for 2 games.
That's right.
That was a tough pitch from Drew Rogers. That's the low outside pitch that Hayden Harper tried to get earlier, couldn't quite get it. So now Drew, with 2 strikes, 1 out, has to protect.
Away from first is Witten. He draws another throw over there. That one a little bit closer, but safe back in.
Yeah, that was his A move. You throw over a couple of times to keep him honest, and then you lull him to sleep, and then you try to get him with your actual pickoff move. And that was you could tell by the way he stepped off and got the ball over. That was a good move.
Rogers leading the team in base on balls. He's the only Badger really with double digits. He's leading the team with 16 walks. The next closest to him is Donovan Witten, is Tucker Johnson with 13. So, and there's another take. So he adds to that base on balls, and that's what Arkadelphia needs here with 1 out in the inning is base runners. And Arkadelphia got a couple of them here, trailing 7-1, top of the 5th inning from Woodlawn. Back to the top of the lineup.
That's another borderline pitch that went Arkadelphia's way. That's a tough take with 2 strikes, and Drew got the benefit on that one.
So 2 runners on now for Arkadelphia. There's one that's fought off and popped up on the infield. Second baseman coming in. Runners back in time, but one pitch fisted on the hands and popped up on the infield. 2 down now for Arkadelphia.
That didn't look good, but that was a hit-and-run situation with runners on first and second. Coach Lowe trying to make something happen. Tate tried to foul that one off and unfortunately put it in fair territory. Ooh. When Pentecost comes in and wasn't happy with that swing, as the fastball would have been ball 1.
Pentecost has leading the team in runs scored. He's not only hitting at a very good clip for Arkadelphia. He's hitting .274, but he's got 14 runs across the plate as well, so he seems to do well once he gets on. But he's quickly in the hole here. No balls and 2 strikes. Couple of runners on, couple of outs on the board, and a couple of strikes on the Badger right fielder here in the top of the 5th. Trip Campbell on deck if he were to reach. Still having a hard time figuring out that that's Trip over there without the hair. There's a taken ball outside high, and the Woodlawn pitcher has a pitch or two to burn here. We'll see if he comes back into the zone here, up 1-2. Here's the pitch, swung on and fouled off his back of his leg for a ticket for another pitch. Once again, Arkadelphia back in conference action tomorrow night from the Arkadelphia Sports Complex. DeQueen, there's strike 3 swinging in. So the Badger thread is done here. A couple of innings with no runs across, and the Badgers quickly running out of time. They've got 6 outs left to bridge the gap. As bottom of the 5th upcoming, and Badgers still in the hole 7-1 here at Woodlawn. Back out is Harper for his 3rd inning of work. All the Badger defenders meeting at first base, getting their strategy to take out in the field here in the bottom of the 5th. Again, DeQueen is the opponent tomorrow night. The Badgers starting the second half of the round robin season here. Arkadelphia needing to finish in the top 4 on a 2-game win streak. They're 3-4 in conference now, and they're going to need to pick up a few wins that they didn't get in that first half of the round robin. You know, Arkadelphia had a lead at Fountain Lake, let that one get away. Really the only game that the Badgers just really did not have much of a competitive edge in at any given time was the Malvern game. But right. Malvern's a team that Arkadelphia can beat. It just wasn't in the cards for them that night, but they will get a chance. They'll have to go to Malvern, but they will get a chance at the Leopards again, and they'll get Fountain Lake at home. They'll get Hope at home.
Yeah, and you look at those games, and Malvern, I believe it was 9-2 or 7-2. Just really never were in that one after a quick start from Malvern. But the Bauxite game, you score 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning to go up 2-1. And at that point, we weren't really sure what Bauxite had, but coaches knew what Bauxite had, and now Bauxite's undefeated in the conference. But they got the big 2-run homer to go up 4-2 and held Arkadelphia off in the bottom of the 7th. So you have a tough one in that game. We talked about the Fountain Lake game when Arkadelphia was up big, and Fountain Lake was able to come back and had the walk-off homer. And then the game last week against Nashville, Arkadelphia down 6-0 after 2, able to cut that to 6-2 and then score 3 runs in the 7th to make it 6-5, but just couldn't quite get that tying run home from second base to extend the game. So you're right, only one game that they've now you look on the other side of that, the win at DeQueen could have gone either way as well. So you can flip some games, but then you got to look at the wins as well.
That's exactly right, and a pretty tough non-conference schedule as well. Palestine Wheatley really the only team that the Badgers just overpowered, and taking it on the chin, and by a couple of really good teams in the Joe T. Robinson tournament, giving up 2 games actually to Lake Hamilton, but. Arkadelphia is going to get better by playing better teams, and that's what they've done this year, and that's what they're doing today. And they find themselves in a hole, but still a couple of innings to go as the bottom of the 5th is where we sit in Woodlawn. Swing and a foul back evens the count now.
We talked about the conference standings. Bauxite 6-0 is all teams are preparing to play that 7th. The final game of the some of them played 7 games, some of just 6 because of rainouts and makeups. But Bauxite 6-0. Nashville at 5-1, Malvern at 5-2, and those 2 teams are supposed to play tomorrow as the count runs full to 3-2. Nashville and Malvern supposed to play tomorrow in Malvern, so that'll be a big spot with Nashville a game out of first and half a game ahead of Malvern. Fountain Lake 4-3, Arkadelphia 3-4, and then you have DeQueen at 2-5, Hope at 1-4, and Mena at 0-7.
So Arkadelphia right in the middle of the pack. They can do themselves a lot of good tomorrow night or a lot of damage as they have a chance to run even.
Well, then you look at that. We are supposed to get some weather coming in mid-morning tomorrow. So if that game's not able to be played, then you start talking to Coach Lowe today. as the 3-2 pitch is a high fly ball to left field. Jarrett Bell camps out under it and makes the catch for the first out of the inning. But in talking to Coach Lowe, when you start trying to find places to make up conference games that you have to make up, then you start having to figure out where best fits your team while the other team's trying to fix the same thing. So undoubtedly, most likely these teams are going to have 3-game conference weeks. Arkadelphia has had 2 sophomores start the majority of the all the conference games. You have 2 sophomores pitching today, and then Ashton Cobb, the freshman. So all that pitching staff of 4 sophomores and a freshman are going to have to grow up, and they're going to have a busy couple of weeks at some point over the next 3 weeks if that game's not able to be played tomorrow night.
So a 2-0 start here is Harper to the center fielder, and he is in the 2-hole here.
A little bit of work from Tate Goodrum in relief this year. Tucker Johnson's pitched some, but those 5 pitchers that Donovan Whitten, Trip Campbell getting the conference starts, Carter Babb, Hayden Harper, and Ashton Cobb, the other 3 that have seen action throughout. Harper and Cobb are seeing those in conference games in relief, and Babb's in the midweek.
And there's a walk on 4 straight pitches. So with 1 out now, first runner on, and another really not even close at bat thrown by Harper to put a.
I thought that ball 4 was a little bit closer than I thought it was a little bit closer than it was, but it must not have been close to the strike zone. Zane Hill has framed a couple of those and really thought he would have gotten some pitches, calls earlier, but that one must have deceived me.
He starts out the Bear third baseman now with a high fastball for ball 1. Over at first base and dancing a little bit. There's one that's going to get by Hill. He comes up, not going to throw. The speedy center fielder there running into second base.
Yeah, I don't know if he crossed Hill up. Don't know if Zane was expecting a different pitch, but that wasn't a terrible pitch. It was a little bit inside, but not where Manis had to get out of the way, and it just squeezed out of the glove of Hill.
There's a hit and run that's on, and it just gets by the third baseman, Goodrum, and if he'd have had it, there's a strong throw in from Bell and into second base, and not able to put the tag on. But there was a shot that went to right at the hit and run was on. The runner at second base was committed to third. Had Tate been able to snag that, he would have easily had the lead runner, simply from not being able to put the brakes on, most likely.
Yeah, he was covering the bag because of the hit and run, and then that batter Manis pulled it right down the line, and Tate was having to stop his momentum and then try to dive against back across his body to make that stop. If he had been able to get a glove on it, he probably would have been able to tag the runner, but such has been the day for Arkadelphia.
And there's a ball that gets up and in on the next hitter, and that's the pitcher for the Bears, and that it puts runners again at first and second and draws Coach Lowe out of the dugout.
I wonder if we might see Goodrum come to the mound if it decides to go with Harper. Yeah, he's going to take the ball from Hayden. It looks like, based on the action I see in the dugout, looks like it's probably going to be Tate Goodrum coming to the mound, and Judson Kuhn will go out to third base.
Everything else looks like it'll stay the same for Arkadelphia. 8-1 now. Another Bear comes across the line, and Bears just manufacturing runs every which way.
So I believe 27 Kuhn will come in for 9 in that batting order, and he'll go play third base, and Tate Goodrum will go from third base to the mound. Everything else stays the same.
Yeah, and when you have a 4A team, Chris, that does not have a go-to pitcher as a junior or senior, that makes things a little more difficult to compete with the likes of, the team we're in front of us today, but especially conference teams that, they're kind of like what we were last year. Any given year, we graduated 12 seniors last year. Several of those had some pitching experience, and you hate to miss out on that, but there's just the way things go. The senior class obviously very slim, with only Drew Rogers representing, and then the junior class only with 5 I believe 5 players, and none of those really. Of course, Tate is a junior, and he's going to pitch today. Just basically kind of a stopgap, if you will, for Arkadelphia. But no pitchers really go to there, and as far as, you know, seniors or juniors and starters, they just not in the cards. I talked to Coach Lowe last week after the Hope win, and, you know, ask him, you know, this has been a year that you have to coach really hard, and you have to make some sacrifices for things that you just don't have. You know, you substitute. It's kind of like cooking. If you don't have the primary ingredient, you go to the backup ingredient, and we've got some backup ingredients today, especially with our pitching. So we'll see if Tate can get us out of the inning here. 2 runners on, 1 out.
Tate's going to throw most likely strikes. He may have about the similar velocity to Harper, but traditionally when Tate has gone in, he's been able to throw strikes and try to throw some ground balls. And if it gets in the outfield, make the play.
First pitch is a strike, and Tate puts it right on the money. You know, also talking with Coach Lowe early in the year, we kind of had this team had the preseason identity as a team that was going to have to basically out-hit and outrun some people with some high run outputs. And, you know, there have been some of those that were back and forth, but if you can't score but 1 run through 5 innings, it's hard to beat anybody. And Arkadelphia just not being able to manufacture runs and do the station-to-station hitting that they've done the last couple of conference games. No balls and 2 strikes now. Tate's ahead of the hitter, the runner off from third, and he's going to draw the throw that's not going to be in time. It is off the heel of Kuhn's glove at third. So the runners advance both up into scoring position. And Woodlawn is not done today. 1 out now, 2 runners in scoring position, the second and third.
Coach Richardson may be wanting to put 3 on the board here and hit the house early.
Yep, could be. There's a ball that gets away but bounces back close enough so that Zane Hill can hold the runner at bay at third base. Count goes even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Number 12 is the number 5, is the 5-hole hitter. Arkadelphia needs an out here. Strike out on a check swing that went just too far, and the hitter knew it, and he tried to hold it back, Chris. He just wasn't able to do it. Good pitch by Tate.
Yeah, it was good. You get that to elevate the fastball. Couldn't quite lay off. Wanted to lay off, just committed too much, and was able to get the strikeout.
Here's the catcher. He steps in. You know, I noticed a lot of these hitters from Woodlawn are using the closed stance. There's a shot into center field, and it's going to be caught out there on the run. Coming in hard is Trip Campbell, and in Trip Campbell style, a little bit of theatrical work. The hat comes off, but the catch is made, and that's what we like to see out of Trip. He's been a dependent outfielder for the Badgers now for a couple of years, and he comes in and makes the play.
It's the first time he's had to judge a ball with that short hair, and it kind of takes a little adjustment there.
Yeah, not quite the wind drag on that mane that he's normally has.
Yeah.
And is it
me?
me?
There are lots of high school girls who would have died for the hair that Tripp just cut off.
I wonder if he gave it to Locks of Love because he had a head full. Is it just me, or are the pitcher's pants riding up higher and higher as the game goes on?
If we're playing on Friday night, those officials are definitely saying your knee pads aren't covering your kneecaps.
Yep.
Saw way too much of that too.
You know, there was a player from Bauxite that one of the first ones I've seen this year, but now I see him a lot of places. And I think probably for pitchers, maybe it's a comfort thing, not having them constrict around your knees, but can't help but think it's in today's world, it's just fashion, man. It's just fashion.
There's a lot of fashion in sports, whether it's basketball, baseball, football.
Yeah, that's kind of like the arm sleeves and the leg sleeves and the neck sleeves and the whatever. Goodness. You know, I see a lot of these players, especially in college baseball, that will go up for an at-bat and draw a walk, and they take some longer to take their pads off than give them to the bat boy than it does to actually have the at bat. Strong throw down there from the Woodlawn catcher to put the fifth inning in the books and start number 6.
One of my favorites is when an outfielder who's playing into the sun has sunglasses, but he puts them on top of his cap.
There you go. There you go.
This is not, and I don't think anybody's doing that today for either team, but I've seen that. I was like, man, I can't see through the sun. Well,
I'm ready for the flips to come back. Flipping the glasses down, like they did back in the 80s.
Yeah, I don't think that's coming back.
Well, I didn't think the mullet was coming back either, but it's back.
It is everywhere.
All right.
Not for me. I couldn't do one if I tried.
All right. So here's Tripp. He's got 2 balls in his favor to start the at-bat. 2-0 is the count to leadoff man here in the 6th inning for Arkadelphia. Campbell, Johnson, Bell will be the trio to see the plate for Arkadelphia here in the top of the 6th inning.
Boy, pitcher wanted that one. That was a good spot. It's a good 2-0 take by Tripp, and he draws a 4-pitch walk. So good AB to start things off by the Arkadelphia center fielder. And usually happens. You follow, you make the third out with a diving catch, and you lead off the next inning, and good things tend to happen.
And, Chris, this is a veteran baseball team and a well-coached baseball team. Instead of burning a mound visit from the dugout, the veteran third baseman goes over, gives his pitcher, calms him down a little bit, gives him a little instruction. Doesn't burn a mound visit. Gives him a little time to maybe gather himself. First 4-pitch walk that we've seen from the pitcher, the Woodlawn pitcher. He's gone the distance. He comes back inside and just misses. Ball 1 to Tucker Johnson. We'll see if the Badgers can manufacture a few runs here in the top of the 6th. Nobody out. Tripp Campbell on. There's a shot to third base. It's gobbled up into second and away from the second baseman into right field. Getting into third on his belly is Tripp. And so runners at the corners now. It's
the first chink in the armor that you've seen for Woodlawn today. First time that they've first error of the game defensively. It's been a very well played game, and I think that throw probably just took the second baseman a little too far up the bag and went off the tip of his glove.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be an E5 in the book against the third baseman. Potentially a double play buster there for Arkadelphia. And Jarrett Bell now is going to be your hitter. He struck out. Last at bat had a base hit in the first inning. He's 1 for 2 today. Runners at the corners. The bunt, hit and run bunt sign was on as he takes an outside and low pitch back to the screen. Johnson back down to first base. Coach Lowe barking out the colors and numbers over in the third base box. Another offensive play call. We'll see what it is here at 0-1 to Bell. There's a hit and run. That's going to be a bouncer to the third baseman. He comes up, strong throw to first, gets the runner, or gets the batter Bell scoring the run from third base. So a sacrifice put out. 5-3 goes Arkadelphia. So now 1 out, a run across. 8-2 is the score. Into second base, not able to get the lead runner, goes Johnson, and KD now at the plate. KD's going to foul the first one back, and he wants that one back. That was right in his wheelhouse and just missed it.
It's one of the bigger wheelhouses that the Badgers have on the roster.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
my
KD,
friend.
he had a 2 RBI triple against Nashville last week, went to right field, and the freshman, this is only his 3rd game. And once he broke in that lineup in that Robinson Spring Break tournament, he got to start at third base, made some hits productively, had some productive at-bats with some hits, and has kind of forced the coaches to say, if you're going to hit, I can't take you out. And he's done a good job, and he's got a big spot here. Now he's in the hole 0-2.
And he wagged at that one. He didn't take. 417 is his average on the year, and just a few at bats, but
good take on that 0-2 pitch. checked his swing just at the last second.
There's a ball gets away. Tucker Johnson going down to third base. He does not draw a throw from the catcher. Probably could have in a closer game, but not a lot of damage over there with an 8-2 lead. Certainly don't want to throw it into left field. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to KD. Pitcher wants a new ball. That one scuffed a little bit from the concrete backstop. DeWitt is your on-deck batter over there. He's certainly capable of putting one over the wall if given the chance. Only 1 out now. Should get a chance to come up and bat for Arkadelphia here in the top of the 6th.
Good AB from KD in the hole 1 and 2. Checked his swing for the 2-2 pitch, and then was able to lay off of that fastball that was low and away. Here's
the 3-2 pitch. KD smokes it into left field. That's going to just get foul by about 4 feet. Nice hit, just a little bit too much of it, as KD will trot back and pick the bat up with a full count. Down to third is Tucker Johnson. He got there on a pass ball. He was sacrificed over to second by ground out from Bell that scored a run here. It's the only run of the inning. And KD draws the walk now to put a couple of runners on, and Witten going to trot up there. He was hit by a pitch his last time up. With a chance now to a long ball could more than cut the lead in half here for Arkadelphia.
If the center fielder doesn't move, there's a lot of room between right and center in that right center field gap. He's playing Donovan shaded to left field, and if that ball gets in the gap, KD doesn't look, you wouldn't expect him to be able to score from first, but he does have good speed and would have a chance.
And the right fielder's not playing awful deep himself. He's probably a little bit conservative and depth-wise there in left field, so not as much room to cover. But we've seen the wind blowing out just a little bit there, and we see the flag picking up just a little bit out to left. Ball and a strike now as Witten takes to even the count. Another offensive play barked out by Coach Lowe in the third base dugout. Witten steps back in with a 1-1 count. 2 runners on, 1 across here in the inning. Pickoff move and throw over to third. Back in is Tucker Johnson. And short of a double play, Judson Kuhn will bat in the on-deck circle for Arkadelphia. Here's the 1-1. That one sails right in there for strike 2.
Yeah, Donovan must have been looking for a different pitch, because that was one that about chest high that you could have put the bat on and tried to make something happen.
Here's the 1-2, and he's going to hit a bouncing ball that's to the second baseman. He fields, throws into first, and on his belly sliding into first. Thought he was in time, but ranging to his left all the way nearly behind the first base position is the second baseman. He squares his body, makes the throw to get Witten in time for the second out.
Yeah, that ball didn't have as much on it as I thought it did. I thought that was, in the gap between first and second base, and I thought there was a little bit more juice on that. It was going to get out to the outfield, but checked up in that natural grass, and at 8-3 with 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning, Coach Richardson's going to make a pitching change.
So good work there by the starting pitcher. He pitches 5 strong innings of work, 5 2/3, and only 3 on the board. And I believe only 2 of those earned. So nice outing. Go back to a right-hander again for Woodlawn, coming in from second base. And so another run across, 8-3 now, Arkadelphia, as Tucker is able to score, and KD down to second. And Judson Kuhn will be the first batter to see our new Bear pitcher. A few faithful Badger fans over here making the trip to Cleveland County. Did a little Cleveland County research before I came over here. Grover Cleveland, back in the late 1800s, was the namesake of Cleveland County here. County seat's Rising, just a few miles up the road. Rising always a football power back in the older days.
Fighting Clay Toddies.
Yep. Fighting Clay Toddies. Warm-up pitches here by the new pitcher. Taps his infield comrades back to their positions and getting some last minute instruction from his staff. A little bit of instruction to both pitcher and catcher. Make sure they're on the same page. Maybe they're talking about what they're going to do with Judson Kuhn, who comes up. Judson taking over pitching responsibilities.
Third base.
Third base responsibilities for Tate, who went in to pitch in the last inning. So we'll see what he can do with the bat here for Arkadelphia. First pitch is outside, ball one. Tailing pitch there, started in the zone and worked its way outside. So KD, the only base runner on now for Arkadelphia. He inches away from second. Not really being held on. A little glove tapping between the second baseman and shortstop. But back to their positions. The pitcher comes set. Everyone else pretty much. Center fielder been playing a little bit, shading a little bit to left. Arkadelphia primarily a right-handed pulling team. Other than that, not a lot of variance in the infield or outfield setup. Still a little bit of wind blowing out to left field. And Arkadelphia with only one lefty in the lineup could use that, but they got to put the stick on it. 2 balls and 2 strikes now, 2 outs, a runner on. 8-3 is the score. Badgers trailing here in the top of the 6th. 3 balls and 2 strikes now to Kuhn. Pitcher comes set, delivers. Inside and low, ball 4, and taking third. A little bit of question. Taking third was KD, and Kuhn was, he thought he walked. He took off and then got some kind of indication. Maybe he didn't. Got some clarification there.
Yeah, umpire said, yeah, go on. You got ball 4.
You got it. Yeah. You don't have to say please. You earned it. Drew Rogers now. He's up here with a couple of men aboard at the corners for Arkadelphia. And a first at-bat walk for the new Bear pitcher, which is something we didn't see a whole lot of earlier in the game. Rogers here, we'll see if Kuhn's going to get away from first base. He does not. First pitch is outside. Rogers not able to have a great average swinging the bat yet, but he sees pitches well and he walks a lot. Very high on base percentage here for the only Arkadelphia senior. There's a shot, base hit. He stays hot, and Drew has got a run batted in here at the top of the 6th, and Arkadelphia has now cut the lead in half, 8-4, and still 2 runners aboard, and back to the top of the lineup go the Badgers.
Yeah, that was just a great piece of hitting by Drew Rogers. Fastball inside, turned on it, put it through the hole, scored the run, and that's something we talk about every time we have a broadcast, that Arkadelphia has struggled getting those runners home in scoring position, especially with 2 outs. And here, we were at an 8-1 game a while ago, saying that thought maybe Coach Richardson was trying to put 3 more to go home early, and Arkadelphia fought that off, and now you've fought back with 3 here in the top of the 6th, and you're the tying run is now on deck. So Tate Goodrum trying to extend it to the next batter, who would be Wynn Pentecost. here Tate with a runner in scoring position has a chance to potentially score Kuhn with a well-placed hit.
And there's a well-placed pitch. So now 0-2 as Tate fouled the first one back. Takes strike 2 looking, so he's down to his last strike. And you like to see the Badgers competing in the later innings, something they had trouble finishing, whether ahead or behind early in the year, and starting to figure it out a little bit with some late runs here to make this a ball game again. A ball and 2 strikes now to Tate. Go ahead, Chris.
That was a good waste by 0-2, 2 strikes. You know, you're not going to be able to advance on a called a drop third strike. So if you can get the batter swinging, good plate discipline by Tate on that 1-2 pitch.
He fouls off the 1-2 again. That's a breaking pitch that gets in on his hands a little bit. Too close to take, so he fouls it back out of play, and he'll get another shot. Drew Rogers with the RBI to score the 3rd run of the inning here. He's at first, not being held on. At second base is Judson Kuhn. And there's another balk. Yep. The second of the day by Bear pitchers. So now 2 runners in scoring position and a base hit with the speed of Drew Rogers at second. Almost certainly
cuts the lead in half again. Yeah, that was both the plate umpire and the field umpire called that balk at the exact same time. I saw the same thing.
Here's the 1-2 to the belt. Pitch is just fished at and hit over. May get there in time. Tate is able to beat it out. 1 run scores. No man's land between first base, second base, and the pitcher's mound. Gets under the glove of the pitcher. Not enough mustard to get to the second baseman in time to make the play. Sliding into first, safe with an RBI is Tate, and now it is 8-5.
Yeah, that was that's a break that goes against Woodlawn. Pitcher does his job. Tate just gets enough on it to have a chopper that was just out of the reach of the pitcher. If that ball is 2 feet to the left, this inning is over, and it's still 8-4. But it was just put in the wrong spot for Woodlawn, right place for Arkadelphia. It was a tough play for the second baseman to make, charging that hard and having to make it with a quick field and transition from glove hand to throwing hand.
Tying run is at the plate now in the form of Wynn Pentecost. He fouls the first pitch back to the screen. Wynn, a .325 hitter, playing right field for most of the season. Runners at the corners for Arkadelphia. Here's the pitch. Bounces up to the plate for ball 1. So a breaking pitch that does not make it to the plate. And counts even.
It broke right out of the hand. He broke about 30 feet too early.
Campbell waits on deck, and there's a shot to right center field. The center fielder making his way back, and looked like that one had more mustard on it.
Yep.
And even Bob stumbling a little bit was the center fielder, but he recovers in time to make a great play for Woodlawn, and 2 Badgers left aboard, although they score 4 runs to more than cut the lead in half as we go to the bottom of the 6th, 8-5 Woodlawn.
Yeah, off the bat, I thought that was going to be trouble. I thought he pulled it a little bit more to that left center field gap. You know, we talked about the outfielders playing shallow, and I thought you mentioned it. I thought it had more mustard on it, and I thought that had a chance to get over the head of the center fielder. But even after his stumble, he was able to track it down, move to his right, track it down, and make the catch to end the rally.
So we go to the bottom of the 6th. Woodlawn has scored in every inning, I believe, in this game. And if the Badgers have any chance of working their way back into this game, they've got to break that trend here in the bottom of the 6th. So 6 more outs for the Badgers to get on defense, and only 3 more for the Bears. 8-5 the score. Arkadelphia making it a ball game again. And Goodrum's back out for another inning of work. So
7, 8, 9 in the Woodlawn order as we start the bottom of the 6th inning for Arkadelphia. In the top of the 7th, it'll be the 3, 4, 5 hitters.
Still a lot of trouble with Sun potentially out there in right field and on the right side of the infield, as the Sun really getting into that top of the fence over here from the left field foul side and shining right down out there into right field. We'll see if Arkadelphia can stop a streak of run scored innings here for the Bears. All right. Everybody back to the same positions they were. Infield left to right, Kuhn, Witten, Rogers, and Johnson. Bell, Campbell, and Pentecost left to right in the outfield. Breaking pitch there to start the inning by Tate. And it's not, doesn't stay up enough to stay in the zone. So ball one. From the stretch, ball hit to third, gets right under the glove of Kuhn as he is not able to get down on it enough. And, you know, it had a couple of bounces as it got through the infield grass, and when it hit that turf out there, it flattened out and got right under the glove of Kuhn. So E5 Arkadelphia rolls into left field, and another leadoff runner on base for Woodlawn. And that's something that as a pitcher, you just kind of lets the air out of your balloon a little bit. We'll see what Tate can do here with, there's another ball hit down third. That one gets foul, out of play. Tate is a contact pitcher. He's going to throw to contact and let his defense play for him. Arkadelphia clawing their way back into this one. 8-5 now is the score here. Bottom of the sixth inning. A runner on, nobody out. Good pitch by Tate. Again, giving the hitter a pitch to hit, and fooled him a little bit. And now Tate's ahead 0-2 in the count. 8-hole hitter here for Woodlawn. There's a pitch, just stays up and outside. Good placement there by Tate. He had a pitch to burn, and that's not always a easy pitch to take.
Yeah, that was a good take by the batter. Good spot by Goodrum, being ahead in the count, 0-2.
Fake move over to first, draws a slide back in from the runner at first base, and he's calling a balk for whatever reason. Don't know why that was a balk. It was and then Tate's asking what he did,
yeah,
and the umpire's refusing to tell him what he did.
The field umpire didn't call it, and so he can't explain to Tate what he did because he didn't see anything. The plate umpire is the one that called that. He deemed that he did something illegal. You know, he stepped off the back of the rubber, so I'm not sure what Mr. Powell saw, but the field umpire couldn't tell Tate anything because he's not the one that called it.
So there's a pop-up here on the infield. The runner gets down to second base. Only one runner on, but he is now in scoring position with no out. So a little more work, a little more, not quite as handy for the Arkadelphia defense to be able to force or return the double play now. Tate's still ahead to the batter, 1 ball and 2 strikes. That pitch foul back, and we'll see if Tate can get him here in the inning. There's a pitch that stays a little bit inside and is going to even the count 2-2. Yeah, not quite sure. The first hop was a step back. Maybe he called something that might have, I don't know. Didn't see any kind of lean or anything toward the plate, so no deception really there. Just a kind of a quick hop off the rubber, and benefit of the doubt there for the Bears. 3 balls and 2 strikes now. To the belt, and here's the pitch. And it looked like, I believe I heard a little bit of skin.
Yep.
A little bit of skin music there, as I think it got the left, just above the left elbow. And so the 3-2 taken on the back of the arm, and now runners back to force with runners at first and second. Nobody out. Arkadelphia will face the 9-hole hitter for the Bears.
Go back to that. You don't see a home plate umpire call a balk on the stepping off very often. It's usually the field umpire, and that's why I think Coach Lowe and Tate Goodrum both were puzzled.
So there's a bunt.
They called a strike.
Called it a strike.
He did pull it back. He just
took a strike.
He took a
high strike.
That was on the. I don't think K-Zone would have agreed with the home plate umpire on that one.
Well, the home plate umpire has been a little had a little consistency, not necessarily good consistency, but a little high consistency with a few calls, and I think Arkadelphia benefited from one there. There's a bunt. It's going to get down and over to third base, and not able to come up with it is Kuhn. So ball squirts away. It was a low throw by Goodrum as he went to get the lead runner at third. The throw was there in time, but not able to secure it as Kuhn. So now bases loaded, back to the top of the lineup we go, and Arkadelphia in danger of giving up ground again here as the Bears load the bases and nobody out. Bottom of the sixth, 8-5. First pitch to the leadoff hitter sails high, ball one. Arkadelphia now needing a unassisted play of some sort, a pop-up, and there it is. There's a pop-up, and it's going to get back out of play. Looked like at first it might stay in the field of play, but no go. Ball and a strike now. To the shortstop. And leadoff hitter for the Bears. Chance to really drive a nail in Arkadelphia's coffin with a big inning here. There's a ball that gets outside and low as Arkadelphia scratched to get back in it, but man, they can't afford to give up the kind of ground it looks like we may be in danger of giving up here with the bases loaded and nobody out.
At least the third inning that Woodlawn's had the bases loaded with less than 2 outs.
There's a shot to short. This could be two. Going to the bag is Witten across, not in time to get the speedy shortstop. So a run across, one out, and Arkadelphia really needed a double play. Just got the wrong batter to turn it on, as he's not going to be doubled up down the line.
Well, I think if Donovan would like to have that one back, I think he would have flipped to Drew coming across. He might have saved a second. Might not have gotten the play, but I think he might have been able to save a little time and make it a little bit closer than it was.
9-5 now. Runners at the corners, one out. And runner being held on at first, not at third. From the stretch, here's Goodrum. There's a runner down to second base, draws the throw. Runner from third not advancing. I don't think they expected Arkadelphia to make that throw, but even then, you don't want to get an out at third base
or home
with one out in a lead that you could absolutely or a cake that you could absolutely ice here in just a few minutes. There's a shot into weak left field. Coming on and making the play is Bell. He comes up firing, and it's not going to get to the plate. Another run comes across.
That was a good tag by the runner at third. He knew Bell was running away from home plate. His momentum was carrying him towards center field, and that was going to be next to impossible play for Bell to make. If Tripp had been able to get to that ball, his momentum would have been coming towards the plate, but Bell was one who was able to make the catch.
Yeah, and Tripp's got a better arm than JB does out there. And, you know, as time goes on and you learn who's got what, you know, under the hood, I guess you can say, they may have played that a little differently. But Badgers need outs, and here's a pop-up that's going to be on the right side. Settling under it is Drew. He's calling everybody off and has to range back over his head to make the play. But
yeah, Tucker had that ball and lost it in the sun. Drew lost it and then picked it up and was almost overran it, but was able to make a good catch fighting that sun off.
So the Bears come back with 2 runs to double up Arkadelphia. 10-5 here going into the top of the 7th. So the Badgers have 3 more outs to give and 3 more outs to get here as we go to the last frame of regulation in Woodlawn. And Arkadelphia has made a game of it. They've made a game of it and strung together some decent pitching. They've put a few hits together, scored some run on a really good baseball team in the Woodlawn Bears. And so hopefully with a little finish to them. Arkadelphia can make this a game, and
some of the things, sorry, like some of the things you watch between innings, Arkadelphia had that first and third, and it was when the throw went all the way down to second. Donovan caught the throw, the runner didn't advance, but you could tell there was a little bit of confusion on what the first to third call was. And so there you saw in that half inning, Coach Lowe talking with Donovan and Whitten and Zane Hill and his infield to make sure everybody was squared away with what the calls were, because there did look like there was a little bit of miscommunication. That's a good job of following up after that and making sure you're clear for the next time you're in that situation.
And, to Coach Lowe's, I guess, to his defense on some things, Coach Evans is a great guy, and he's a great coach, but he doesn't have the baseball experience. So the instruction part, a lot from Coach Evans, especially things between innings, is not there as much as it might be with another coach. But Drew's got his hands full this year. He's got a lot of players out, a lot of young players. He's teaching them not only in practice but between the games, on the bus ride in, on the bus ride home. It's not always easy love. It's tough love sometimes, but he's done okay this year and getting the Badgers to a point where they're not out of it yet, and they're not out of this game yet either. Trip Campbell's going to lead things off from the left side of the plate.
If he can get hold of one, that outfield is playing very shallow.
And he does get a hold of one, and ranging back, and looks like he's squaring it up and making the play out there in left for the first of the inning. He went opposite field there, and normally it's not a bad place for a left-hander to go, but
that one hung up in there, up in the air just a little bit too much, and allowed the left fielder to make that catch
almost
towards foul territory.
Exactly. Almost want Tripp to pull that ball, especially with that sun so brutal out there in right field. You've got a little bit of a hindrance out there, but not to be. Tucker Johnson, he takes ball one.
Woo.
There's strike one. That's, again, unhittable. It's above the letters.
I'd live there for the next however many pitches I would throw.
Absolutely.
if I'm him on the mound.
I'd make him make me stop throwing that pitch if I can get that call. And he does. Again, that ball is up there again.
Yeah, that one was a little bit lower, but after you got to try to adjust. You're not going to get that's a ball that you're going to have to fight off because you're not going to get much behind that one. But he lived there.
That one looked like more of a strike than the first two.
Well, that one bounced on that right hand side. You're blocked by that by the umpire, but that one was low. He tried to change Tucker's eye level, and now he had one to burn. I expect to possibly see him come back upstairs on this one.
2-2 to Johnson. It does come upstairs, and he's hit by a pitch again. There is Mr. Magneto. He's got that magnet in his left shoulder that draws a hit by pitch at least once a game.
It's just uncanny how many times Tucker Johnson's going to get hit by a pitch.
And so he'll be pinch run for here with the Badgers having to do anything they can. Tucker Guy going to come in, give the Badgers some speed. He's got to have 5 runs to take it to the bottom of the frame here. And with one out, one on now, Arkadelphia with a lot of work left to do. And JB is going to step in for the Badgers, see if he can keep the inning going. JB creeping up there. He's batting .365, and there's one that gets over his head. Tucker Guy getting a late jump there. The ball goes to the screen, but he's into second base. I don't think he saw it.
Well, and I think that he saw the catcher come rearing with his, catcher had to come out of his crouch. The ball went behind JB's head. Catcher came up with pulling his hand out of his glove like he had the ball, and when he came up with nothing, he was even surprised. He thought he had caught the ball, and therefore Tucker Guy had to wait a little bit.
So the 0-1 or the 1-0 offering to Bell is fouled off on the right side, so he'll be even now. Tucker Guy down at second base. Arkadelphia trailing 10-5 here, top of the 7th. Last chance for Arkadelphia in the 7th inning here with one out. Bell swings at an inside pitch that doesn't see well and misses it, so He's down to his last strike.
It was a good off-speed pitch. Got JB out ahead of that one.
1-2, and the pitcher backs off the rubber, resets. JB back in the box now. He's closed his stance up a little bit. Not quite the open stance he normally has. There's a shot right back up the middle. It's his second base hit of the game, and rounding third is Tucker Guy. He's going to draw a throw only that's cut off by the second baseman. And so JB keeps Badger hopes alive here with another run on the board, and KD now will come aboard.
A good AB by Jarrett Bell. There, just went with the pitch. You know, that pitcher's going to fall off to the right side of that mound, or the side of that mound, and he just took it right back up the mound, straight into center field. And nice play by the center fielder, knowing that the run doesn't matter. You do want to keep the double play in play, and the runner at first base, getting the ball quickly into second base to keep Jarrett Bell at first.
Really need to get JB down to second. Any kind of bobble or pass ball, we need to get him there. The 1-0 count to KD is taken for strike one, so even count now to the Badger DH. Been sharing some time over at third, especially when Witten comes in to pitch. Usually puts Tate at short, and KD over there been playing some third. There's a
breaking ball that was up. It's with this strike zone, you don't need to give up on that too early. That was close to being a 1-2 count instead of 2-1.
Small lead away from first is Jarrett. He's being held on over there. KD with a big cut comes up empty. 2 balls and 2 strikes now.
Good fastball. KD was expecting something else, maybe just a little bit late on that one. He was right on it, just too late.
Witten on deck. Arkadelphia is able to get out of a double play. He'll get an at-bat here. And that one sails up and in. Now count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Still down at first. Bell with an RBI single. His second hit of the day. He keeps Badger hopes alive here. And there's ball 4 that skips into KD. And now 2 runners on. And Arkadelphia with the tying run on deck. And that'll draw a visit from the Bear Den. And he's gonna
make a change.
He's going Van Horn style out there. He goes out with his hand out, and it's not to shake hands, just to get the baseball. And that's going to bring in the shortstop. And we'll see if the steady Eddie shortstop can be as steady on the mound as he has been at shortstop today.
You know, after Arkadelphia had cut that lead to 8-5, Woodlawn was able to get the 2 to make it 10-5. And so, you know, one positive you can bring out of this, no matter how this ends up, you know, Arkadelphia is by no means out of it yet, but you're obviously 1 pitch away from making it, bringing the tying run to the plate, but also you're 1 pitch away from the game being over. It's the beauty of baseball. But good fight here in the top of the 7th inning, trying to claw some things, trying to get some runs home. Tucker Johnson gets hit. Tucker Guy gets on base. Advances to second as the pinch runner. Jarrett Bell drives him home. KD follows that up with a good-looking AB with the drawing a walk, and now you get to Donovan Witten.
Yeah, and Witten's starting to come around a little bit with the bat. He's starting to see a little bit. Got a home run the other night. A home run here would put the Badgers down by 1. Couple of outs here left. Couple of outs of work left here for the Bears, and Arkadelphia hoping to make them work for it a little bit.
Donovan 2 for 4, 2 for 3 with a walk Tuesday night at Mena. And those first 2 at bats, he was first pitch swinging on fastballs. First inning, he had top of the second inning, he had a leadoff home run on a first pitch fastball, and then in the 4th inning, he hit a double to right field. So he started off hot, but both those at bats were with on the first pitch that he saw as a fastball. So now he bats with 1 out and runners on first and second.
And there's a pitch that gets away. The bunt was motioned by Witten. He pulls it back. The ball gets away. Runners go down.
So now you got 2 runners in scoring position. So you have a chance to cut this 4-run lead to 2 with a base hit. And you see the pitcher, he's got more velocity. And so you got to be ready for that. But also you got to make him throw a strike as well. That one was low and at the front of the batter's box.
Here's the pitch. That one's down low and swung on. Witten wanting to make something happen here.
Yeah,
not the pitch to do it on.
No, you're not going to make much happen with that. It's going to go to the right side. You might get a run home, but you don't need to trade runs for outs here.
He offered just almost at that one, was able to pull his bat back and save the strike. 2 balls and 1 strike now to the big shortstop. Here's the pitch. Foul back, so down to his last strike now. Judson Kuhn waits on deck. We should see him bat here in the top of the 7th, short of a unconventional double play. Here's the 2-2 to the belt. Here's the pitch. And that looked like as good a strike as we've seen today, and he just didn't see it, and he's rung up for the 2nd out of the inning. And
yeah, called 3rd strike. It's got to be the thing that'll make a coach's hair turn gray or loose, and that was 2 strikes. You gotta be change your approach.
Yeah, especially at 2-2, and knowing that you got to see 2 of those like that, and just didn't work out. Here's Judson Kuhn. He takes the ball for his first offering, and now ahead 2-0 as the pitch sails outside. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. The tying run on deck, that's Drew Rogers, but the Badgers down to their final out here. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Taken high, ball 3. Badgers need base runners, and a base runner here would put the tying run at the plate. And so
do whatever you can do to get it to the next guy.
Take sign on.
Yep.
Got to be on right here for Kuhn. And he takes for strike 1.
It's a good pitch. The relief pitcher came in from shortstop, has not found the strike zone in the first couple of batters, except for on that 3-2 pitch from Donovan, or to Donovan. He's at the risk of walking it on 4 straight and comes back with a strike.
And another strike on a half-hearted swing there by Kuhn. So now we are at the payoff pitch of the inning. 3-2, 2 outs, 2 on. Badgers trailing by 4. Got to have a base runner here any way you can get it. And here's the pitch. Taken, strike 3, and the ball game is over. Arkadelphia's last 2 hitters take strike 3 looking, and not the way they wanted to end it, but noble effort, just a little bit short today.
Yeah, good fight there in the 7th, but just with 2 strikes, you got to try to foul something off, get it to the next guy, or get it to the next pitch. And unfortunately for the Badgers, it's not how it turned out in that 7th inning.
Well, it's been a beautiful day. It's been a good game. Arkadelphia had some highlights and some things to grow on. A midweek game here that they dropped to the Bears of Woodlawn 10-6 here in Cleveland County. So we'll be back on the air next week, but tomorrow night the Badgers at home, weather permitting, back into conference action. The second half of the round robin part of the schedule here as Arkadelphia brings in DeQueen, a winner earlier were the Badgers in DeQueen. So DeQueen going to be coming in tomorrow night with their leopard teeth showing, you can bet, and Coach Crocker's going to have those guys up for a little revenge. Hopefully Arkadelphia can pull to 500 in conference standings with a win tomorrow. Currently sitting at 3-4, but going to take some work, and we'll see. Most likely Donovan Witten on the mound tomorrow for the Badgers.
Yeah, you'd imagine it's been the rotation. One conference starter is Trip Campbell, and then Donovan Witten the next game, and that would be if he stands the same, that'd be the rotation for tomorrow night.
So we are going to wrap it up here from Woodlawn. Arkadelphia falls 10-6 to Woodlawn tonight. We'll be back on the air next week. Come out and join us for Badger Baseball in person tomorrow from the Arkadelphia Sports Complex in Badger Field. For Chris Babb, I'm Blake Bell. So long.